On January 15, 2009, U.S. Airways Flight 1549 was climbing through 800 feet over the densely populated grid of New York City. On board the Airbus A320 were 150 passengers and 5 crew members. 1 minute and 32 seconds after liftoff, the aircraft intersected the path of a flock of heavy 8-pound Canada geese. This is the complex internal core of a jet engine. Several birds struck dead center on both the left and right engines of the Airbus, instantly destroying critical mechanical components. The result was a complete and symmetrical loss of thrust. The aircraft immediately became a 70-ton glider without engine power, dropping toward the city at over 1,000 feet per minute, in freezing 21-degree air. To understand how anyone made it out of the next 208 seconds alive, we must look at the event through 2 distinct realities happening at the exact same time. The cold technical calculations occurring in the cockpit, and the visceral fight for survival back in the passenger cabin. As the engines wound down, Captain Chesley Sullenberger took control. Before even attempting to restart them, he performed a single critical action. He turned on the auxiliary power unit, a small turbine that provides backup electricity. Without engines, electrical power stopped. But the running APU flowed electricity into the flight computers, keeping safety protections active. A hard limit prevented the nose from rising too high, protecting the plane from a fatal aerodynamic stall. Simultaneously, the crew was evaluating their options. They initially turned back toward LaGuardia, and air traffic control offered a runway at nearby Teterboro. But the pilots faced an uncompromising physics problem. They were bleeding off altitude and speed too rapidly to reach either airport. In moments like this, pilots often suffer from tunnel vision, fixating on a runway they cannot physically reach. Instead of following a long convoluted checklist designed for high-altitude engine failures, Sullenberger relied on his own visual judgment. He calculated the glide slope by eye, and made the only logical choice left: aiming the aircraft at the Hudson River. While the flight deck relied on computer logic, an eerie silence settled over the passenger cabin as the engines failed. That silence broke when the intercom crackled with 3 words from the captain: "Brace for impact." Immediately, flight attendants began shouting commands, desperately trying to get everyone into position. The proper brace position required knees together, feet flat on the floor, and the body bent as far forward as possible. Tucking the body tightly together structurally reduced forward momentum, preventing severe whiplash and blunt force trauma when hitting the water. As the plane descended below the tops of the Manhattan skyscrapers, passengers began calculating the distance to the emergency exits, mentally preparing to hold their breath as freezing water rushed in. By locking themselves into these tight physical postures, the passengers created the vital structural baseline needed to survive the massive deceleration seconds away. Inside the cockpit, First Officer Jeff Skiles was frantically trying and failing to restart the dead engines, while in the back, 150 people kept their heads firmly down against their knees. Approaching the water, Sullenberger pulled the flight stick as far back as it would go. The Airbus flight computers, still powered by the APU, dynamically prevented the nose from rising past a specific angle, optimizing the final glide. Flight 1549 hit the Hudson River, descending at 750 feet per minute, holding a pitch angle of 9.5 degrees. The splashdown was incredibly violent. The rear underside of the aircraft absorbed the brunt of the impact, tearing open the cargo compartment, and instantly sending river water rushing up through the cabin floorboards. Because of the seamless integration between Sullenberger's manual inputs and the active computer limits, the fragile aluminum fuselage was able to skip across the surface and decelerate without breaking apart. The immediate threat shifted from gravity to temperature. 40-degree water began flooding the cabin, introducing a deadly and rapidly ticking clock for severe hypothermia. Seeing the freezing water rushing in from the back, the flight crew quickly abandoned the unusable aft doors, tightly funneling all 150 passengers toward the forward and overwing exits. Due to impact damage, the front right door malfunctioned and started closing on its own, threatening to puncture the newly inflated life raft. A passenger stepped up, physically holding the door back with his arm, so others could escape underneath him. As passengers scrambled onto the freezing wings, nearby commuter ferry captains saw the splashdown. They immediately broke their designated routes, converging on the plane to form an improvised and highly organized rescue operation. Every single person made it off that plane alive because of perfect spontaneous coordination, the trained crew directing traffic inside, and rescuers pulling people to safety. Months later, the NTSB investigation proved the crew's instincts were correct. During extensive simulator testing, factoring in realistic human reaction time, every attempt to reach a nearby airport resulted in a fatal crash. The event permanently altered commercial aviation procedures. Airlines developed new emergency protocols for total engine failure at low altitude, procedures many pilots now informally refer to as the Sully checklist. The survival of Flight 1549 relied on a rare alignment of factors: the rapid intuition of the pilots, the robust logic of the computers, the discipline of the cabin crew, and the extraordinary coordination of rescuers below. In just 208 seconds, a powerless Airbus descending over New York City became one of the most remarkable survivable ditchings in aviation history. Because on that freezing January afternoon, when both engines failed over Manhattan, 155 people should have died. But against all probability, they all survived.